Welcome back to the Rakes on the Road episode 2. This follows obviously the first episode of the Rakes on the Road that happened a long time ago now because of COVID and all other sorts of things.
Our guest this week is Brett Goldstein. Those of you who have seen Ted Lasso will know him as the lovable curmudgeon Roy Kent, who for my money was the best character in the show. His breakout performance meant that when the opportunity was presented to the Rake to do this, we wasted no time in getting it organised. I just needed to find a car for us to drive in.
Oh boy, that was right on the button.
It's the Bentley Continental GT Mulliner, and if it drives half as well as it looks, well then we're in for a real treat. So off we go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after a long and arduous wait, we are back to episode 2 of Rakes on the Road, and I'm here with the terrific Brett Goldstein.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
How are you?
Lovely to have you here. I'm very excited.
I'm excited to be here.
So Brett, we're here on Richmond Green, something of a location for the terrific and very well received Ted Lasso.
I'm familiar with the green.
Yes, and I want to say about Ted Lasso that
Please.
I dislike football intensely,
Okay.
and I loved Ted Lasso, and my wife and I watched it, and we fell in love with its optimism, its positivity, and I think it was exactly perfectly timed for this sort of slightly dark period of everybody's lives where we're all kind of cooped up, and when news seems sort of hell-bent on making us all feel absolutely miserable. There is something about Ted Lasso for me that that really kind of sparked the sort of the lighter, more generous and sort of happier side of my spirit that I think sort of has been a bit dormant, and I sort of suppose that's been the case for a lot of people. What do you think?
That's very nice of you to say. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it's difficult for me to say because I'm involved with it, but I've definitely heard that a lot, and it's really special. And it was part of the. It was baked into the writing of the show that we wanted to do something about someone who's not a cunt. And we all agreed we loved these shows, but it become a real cliche of like difficult men and difficult women, and just sort of anti-heroes and people who are not very nice.
Do you think kindness makes for good television?
Well, I think well, I could tell
I mean, it must do, and it's just interesting because the when you think of sort of historic and precedents for kind folk on television, it's largely children's television. And,
that's true.
Mr. Rogers, and certainly I had 2 children, and a lot of the shows very much place high value on teaching and talking about kindness and talking about being thoughtful towards others and all these sorts of things.
That's really interesting, isn't it? And then it changes. At what age does TV suddenly go, nah, everyone's a dickhead?
Well, it's a really good question. I mean, if I think back to the TV shows that I watched when I was in my teens, Friends, Frasier, there's always a little bit of both.
Hey Roy, you come to the club tonight?
Hold on, will you be there?
Of course, bro.
Then fuck no!
Ted Lasso, season 2 is coming up. You still play Roy Kent, I'm assuming.
Still playing Roy Kent.
By the way, am I right in saying that you currently have a knee injury?
Yeah.
From football?
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who don't get that, that's a full method.
I'm a full method actor.
That's full method acting there, considering what happens to Roy Kent in season 1. Anyway.
I was like, it's all well and good playing football as Roy Kent, but I should have a knee injury during one of these games so that I don't have to do any acting. There's not much acting going on in Ted Lasso.
It's just be you.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you mentioned being a writer on the show.
Yeah.
However, and may I say, I absolutely love the character of Roy Kent. And I, as soon as the opportunity to come and talk to you came up, I jumped at it just because I loved the character, and I loved the story even more about how you came to be on the show, not just a writer on it.
Well, so I came on as a writer. I'd worked with Bill Lawrence before, and I'd done a pilot with him, and we'd stayed in touch, and he just called me and was like, I think you should come write on this show. He was like, we're putting together a crack team, and I think you should come write on it. It's set in England, it's about football, and we need a British person, and I think you're the right fit for this. And then I met with Jason Sudeikis and sort of fell in love, and I was like, all right, fucking great. So I went and did this writer's room, and as we were writing it, around about episode 5 of writing it, I was like, I really get Roy. I really think I could play Roy, but I also knew that no one was thinking of me for Roy because, you know, I like the Muppets, and and I think up to that point, most of the parts I've been playing for a while were kind of sort of sweet, nice guys, and so you know, no one was thinking of me in that area. So on my last day at the writer's room, I recorded a self-tape on my own of 5 scenes as Roy, and I emailed them to Bill, and I was like, thanks so much, I've loved all this. I've for a while been thinking I could play Roy, but I totally get that this is awkward and maybe not the right thing to do, so if this has made you uncomfortable, please pretend you never got this email, and I will never ask you about it. On the other hand, if you like it, I think I could be Roy, and I sent the tape. And then, you know, they couldn't be bothered to keep looking, so they cast me.
Well, it's such a great character because there's it's that interesting idea of being a total grump and a total misanthrope, but actually very lovable. And for me, it was the best character in the show, and the most interesting. And if Jason Sudeikis was here, I would say that Ted Lasso was the best.
Yes,
I'm very shallow in that sense.
I'm getting that sense.
But you know, I like that you say that you identified with them, but I don't. My grasp with you up until now is that there isn't that aspect to you. But perhaps there is something lying dormant that's slightly grumpier than what actually comes across. Yeah.
You don't know, mate.
No, I don't.
Well, part of it is you were saying about misanthrope and miserable and all that. I think I used to be that. I think I've come on a long journey towards positivity and stuff like that. I think, and that's only been in the last few years actually. And I definitely have the boiling cauldron of rage. But the major difference is that unfortunately I have been cursed with the gene that wants people to like me, so I suppress all my all my truth. But if I got rid of that gene, I'd probably be full Roy Kent all the time.
You know when they say that how 2 minuses make a positive, and a positive and a negative makes a minus, like it's science shit. I don't really understand, but where I'm getting at is I'm just like you in that sense. So I wonder what 2 people who really like other people to like them, or how that works out in a car en route to a blacksmith's.
You know,
I mean, we could be lovers.
We're going to be kissing, yeah. Just pull over. Yeah. Get down to it.
Yeah. Movies are a director's medium, whereas TV is a writer's medium.
I would say that is true.
So does that mean you prefer doing television stuff, or do you know, as an actor, do you like want to sort of drift into movies as well?
I'd love to do more films. I mean, film is my first love, sure.
Because you have your extraordinarily brilliant podcast.
Thank you.
Films to be buried with.
Thank you.
And I have listened not to all 155 episodes, but to a lot of them. And what it is a kind of Proustian questionnaire of as a way to find something out about the person that you're, or as much as you can about the person that you're interviewing through film.
Yeah.
And it's genius.
God bless you.
And it's fun because films are terrific. Now we're going today to forge and make our own Viking knives.
Love it.
Which is, for me, wonderful. That is not what you had in mind. for
No.
today.
No.
You,
Yeah.
Mr. Mr. I'm in a very, very, very successful TV show. I'm going to risk my life and do what?
Jump out of a plane.
Jump out of a plane.
Or jump
That
off
was
a
the
building. I thought when this was, when I was asked to do the Rake, and thank you for asking,
That's right.
I was told it was sort of like a like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was like choose your own adventure. We'll go on an adventure of your choosing, and I pitched you 12 adventures you said no to, and in the end we're making a fucking Viking now.
Well, look, I've worked with folk such as yourself for 7 years now.
Yeah.
At no point did I ever expect them to want to jump out of a plane.
Oh really?
Of course
That's just
not.
like that was
No.
go immediate. What would you like to do? Jump out of a plane?
Yeah, but that's bonkers.
Is it?
Yes. We're going to go do this knife forging thing. I am very excited because my wife, over the years, decided that I'm not manly enough.
Right.
So I need to do courses that make me more manly. My mother-in-law joined in on this as well, so I felt particularly emasculated ahead of all these things. But I emerged a new man. It's kind of like going to Sandhurst. They break you down, then they build you back up into an army officer. But in this case,
Your wife and your mother-in-law
are the yes, exactly.
are the officers at Sandhurst.
Well, they're the directing staff.
Here we go. Just at the lovely speed limit. See? That's good fun.
M for more.
Right.
M for Mulliner. It's very quick, but it only is quick up to the speed limit, at which point we stop.
Yeah.
So we've arrived at the Anvil Forge. Brett and I obviously have broken the ice in the car. We're now going to go through, I guess, what is some kind of gladiatorial contest to see who's more manly with working some metals.
At the end of this, it's going to be judged by Tom's wife and mother-in-law.
Welcome to Anvil Forge. We're running a quick demo class with Brett and Tom. They're going to be making a Viking knife.
It was either this or jumping out of a plane.
What we're going to be doing is we're going to be heating our steel in the hearth. The hearth is basically coke, and that's going to go up to a temperature of nearly 2000 C. Melting point of steel is 1510, so we're going to be very careful with watching our steel to make sure that we don't burn it.
That's proper hot. That's hot.
That's hot.
I mean, it's really hot. I have to say, I've never been so excited in my entire life. This is genuinely getting a buzz out of this.
Mine's gone bendy.
Huh?
I've made a bendy one.
Keep a straight face.
So the next part of the stage is going to be getting the blade. Now it's nice and cool. We're going to be putting it onto a grinder we have set up over here, and we're going to finish shaping the knife off and reducing the thickness at the very edge and a tiny bit of reshaping.
Sparks and fire. Yeah, love like that. Yeah, it's great.
The blades are generally quite good. They've done quite a good job on them, so it doesn't need very much work.
Sorry. Almost took my finger off.
Did you?
It was close. Just a little slip. Brett? Yeah? When does the next season of Ted Lasso come out? July 23rd. Okay. Everybody watch Ted Lasso season 2. Very good.
See what we've got. Tiny bit there, but that'll come out of the truck. What we're going to do now, we're going to forge this area thin, forge it down, raw steel in with hammer angle. We're then going to put a curve in here, facing upwards, to form the first part of the finger grip, finger guard. We're then going to mould this area in to give us a nice fluent handle. That's the game, that's the aim of the game.
The next part of the process will be to heat treat and be heated up to a critical temperature, which is cherry red. We're going to test it with a magnet. When it becomes non-magnetic, we know we're at the right temperature. So then it's really a case of filing and doing some sanding off with some wet and dry paper to get the final blade edge.
Halfway mark, pitch it down. Nice and tight.
Hey, quality. Should we have a go with that? See if it comes? Yeah.
Pretty good.
Excellent. Thank you.
Super quick time as well.
Yeah. Listen up.
And we're back.
We're back and we switched.
We've switched.
So, how did you find that?
How did I find it? I loved it. I loved the bit when we did with the sparks.
Yeah.
The stuff where lots of sparks went everywhere was really cool, and you thought, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
I liked hammering shit. If I've got any notes for them, great day.
Less filing.
Less filing. Felt like admin in the end.
One thing I'd say about what I'm worried about is that they were almost too nice in the sense that they kept saying that we were doing such a good job.
Yeah, they did.
And I worry that surely I wasn't. Surely I'm not a natural blacksmith.
Listen, I'll say this, and I hope that your wife and your mother-in-law hear this. I thought you were very manly today.
Oh, that's very
And particularly when we did the first bit with the poker, I was like, oh, this guy's got it.
Yeah.
He knows how to
He's
make
got
a
some
fucking
game.
red hot poker. We now have knives.
Yeah,
in the
we're
boot.
now armed.
That fresh blades in the
We're
boot.
driving back into London armed and dangerous.
I knew this is how this would end.
Yeah. So, you're a TV star.
Sure.
You're extremely famous. What? We've all noted the shifts of power between Hollywood filmmaking and Hollywood and I guess the sort of global TV production.
Yes.
Where do you think it comes from, and do you think it's a fad or here to stay?
Well, look, I'm a big cinema guy, and I am very sad at the idea of film being treated secondary to TV. I think there are a number of things, and one of them is with studios and big stuff, there's more money and creative power being given to creators in TV. So of course everyone is flocking to TV.
And because it's interesting, because television has now become sort of a mini set of movies each time. When you get something like Band of Brothers,
Yeah.
I mean, even The Crown or any of these, The West Wing.
Yeah.
Hour-long episodes, all sort of mini movies in their own way. The scale has come down, though. I mean, because in the West Wing days, it was 20-something episodes, 24 episodes a season.
Network TV. Yes.
I mean, unbelievable. Do you think, because there are some shows that are now playing week by week, do you think that that's something that will come back?
Well, Ted Lasso plays week by week.
It does.
I think it's look, as someone who makes stuff, it is this mad thing where you go, we spent a year on this thing and you're just going to watch it all in one go in 3 hours and that's it. And you go like, fuck. If I watch like a few 30 Rocks in a row, I almost feel guilty because it's so packed full of jokes. There's so many fucking details in it. And if you just watch it all at once without kind of savouring it, I go, oh God, that was mean. I should have really taken my time on that. And when you release things weekly, you build a thing and it's exciting and it connects people to like, oh, what's going to happen next, rather than bang, I've done it all.
But can one not argue the same about movies? Because someone goes to watch a movie, it's only a couple of hours long. So you bang it out very quickly. A lot of work went into it. So the digestion time is the same.
Well, that's why
the ingestion time is
you can say that, and my argument would be, and that's why we need cinema.
Okay.
Because there was a thing in Empire magazine where they were Edgar Wright had got a load of people to talk about what they miss about cinema. And Daniel Craig wrote this thing, and it's the most brilliant thing I've read about cinema, where he said, sitting down in your seat with your popcorn, there's adverts, there's trailers, then the lights go down and the screen sign changes and it starts, and it said sometimes we need the ritual to awaken the magic of the thing.
Yes.
And I was like, that's it. That's my argument for the cinema. Is like, you can watch stuff at home, but it's not the fucking same. What the fuck? I'll tell you what, that was fucking great. That was like the Aerosmith rock and roller coaster.
I just pissed myself. What's your favourite TV show? And Ted Lasso can't be the answer.
Of all time? Look, I think the greatest TV show of all time is The Wire.
Okay.
And I think the only thing that's come close to that is Deadwood. But the show that probably had the biggest effect on me and has stayed with me and I probably think about at least once a day is Twin Peaks.
Okay, right. We're verging into much more intellectual property than
what were you thinking of?
Friends.
X Factor.
Yes, the X Factor. Yeah.
And then X Factor.
Yeah.
Season 3 to 4.
Yeah.
The best seasons.
Very specific, 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Look at you in there, looking like a brunette Oscar the Grouch. On or off? Oof.
The response has had people in Vanity Fair talk about the reason that it's such an important show for today. Why do you think it's an important show?
I think it's an important show because it shows through storytelling and not through slogans what can be done with empathy and listening and teamwork and meeting people where they are, and particularly in political discourse, everything was fucking ugly last year, and I think Ted Lasso came along and it's about more and more people treating each other decently, and that possibly felt revolutionary because it had been so long since you'd seen that in a public space.
So we're arriving back home.
Yeah. Yeah. What have we learned?
Well, we've learned some skills. We've driven a great car.
Amazing car.
Amazing car. We've had, we've spent a great day together. So I must thank you, an extremely busy man and TV star, Brett Goldstein.
I must thank you. I've had a very exciting day, and it was nice to go and do something different.
Different than
Nice to do a bit of
Zoom
filing.
conferences.
Nice to do a bit of filing.
We loved your filing.
Good to get out of the house.
But
and do bits
you know
of
what?
filing.
You could have been Zooming in Los Angeles
Could have been zooming in
with a
that.
10-second delay and nobody getting your jokes as a result.
And that I'd rather be filing in a dark hole on the hottest day of the year.
Yeah.
So,
And you have a knife to take
Thank
you
you,
to
man.
show for it.
got a lovely knife, cuts right through paper.
Yeah.
Goodbye.